Hello guys, this is Albertura the Tone Junkie once again, and today with the demo of the Marshall VS100R. Check it out! I hope everybody's doing alright. I've been very busy these days, but I wanted to show you this amplifier because it's the third one I've owned. The Marshall Valvestate amps are called that way because they have a tube or valve preamp section and a solid state power section. So they are basically hybrid amps. Valvestate series have a bunch of models, but I have seen 3 sub-series. The first one is the one with the red power switch. I think they're called like the S models. The second one is the VS models that have a black power switch, which is the one we're gonna demo today. And the third one is the AVT 2000 series. Several months ago, I got this amplifier for cheap. It had a lot of issues that I already fixed, but we are gonna talk about that at the end of the video. Now I'm gonna show you what you can do with this amp. Alright, here we go. This is the clean channel. Bridge position, now the neck. I like that the treble pod is very responsive. Besides the EQ, we have the tone shift. What it does is to cut some of the bass, which is pretty good because this is an open back cabinet. So if you're getting too much bass, you can, cut a little bit of that bass using this tone shift. Put a little bit of reverb. More. If you crank the reverb, you're gonna get more noise. Now let's move to the overdrive one, and I'm gonna go from the lowest to the highest. I think you have enough gain on the overdrive one. So that's the overdrive one. The overdrive two is like pushing this channel with a tube screamer, because I checked the schematic because I was doing some repairs in it, and I noticed that it has a tube screamer chip that engages in this channel. So from lowest to highest, but I think the contour knob is the most interesting thing this channel has. It changes the character a lot, and I like that. To the right, I think the sound is more like the old Metallica albums. You know, it's very scooped, it has a lot of highs and a lot of bass. In the middle, it's very Marshall. And to the left, I think it sounds more modern, less fizz, and more low mids. Sounds more modern. The reverb in this channel is just whatever. But it can be useful to give a little bit of room to the sound. So basically, I would use this amp in two different ways. The first one would be having a clean sound, a crunch, and a more modern high gain sound like this, for example. Super clean. I would have a crunch. For vintage rock. And then I would have the overdrive too for something more modern. And the goal here would be to find a perfect middle ground between the overdrive 1 and the overdrive 2 in order to have those three good sounds: the clean, the overdrive crunch, and the high gain overdrive with a little bit of modern twist in it. The other way I would use this amp would be like having my clean tone, I don't know, let's say more bass, chimey for example. And then having, let's say you're playing in a band like, I don't know, AC/DC band. So you have your, you're not gonna use the clean, but you have your overdrive one as your rhythm sound. And then you have your overdrive 2 as your lead sound for solos. You set it up with a little bit of more gain, for example, and a little bit of extra volume, you know, to boost it. And let's say you try to leave the EQ as it is because it matches the overdrive 1, and then when you engage the overdrive 2, you have your lead sound. You know what I mean? And then you use your contour knob to find the frequency space that allows you to cut through the mix even more. So this way you have your clean, your rhythm overdrive, and then your lead overdrive. That is another way I would use this amplifier. Now in the back of the amp we have a parallel effect loop which can be controlled from the front with this knob right here. And but we are not gonna test that because that's boring. And we also have this power dimension button which drops the volume, increases the low end. I don't think it's very useful, but I suppose they put it there because they wanted to simulate when you crank the amp but having the volume low. So it drops the volume. But you also get more noise, so I don't find it very useful, to be honest. Now we're gonna check how it sounds in a mix. And before we continue, I forgot to tell you that in the back panel there's an emulated line out. So I thought it would be interesting to compare the mic recording with the line out recording. And why not? We're going to apply some impulse responses to the raw recording to see how good we can record with this amp. Well guys, there you have it. My conclusion is that this amplifier is a very decent amp. It's not super impressive, but I think the clean tone is very nice. You can get some chimey tones, which I like. The first overdrive is kind of okay. I think it sounds better when you crank it to at least a half of the gain. The overdrive too, it has even more gain. The control knob, I think, is the feature that I like the most of this amplifier because it really changes the character of it. The power dimension button is just whatever, and the reverb is not a great reverb, but you can add some, some cushion to your tone, which is pretty much okay for an amp like this. I think this amplifier sounds best for the 80s kind of rock. For higher gain tones, I've never been a fan of Marshall actually, but I mean, it depends on your taste. I think if you are smart enough and you really tweak here and there, you can get very good tones out of it. I have had 3 of these Valvestate amplifiers and I gigged a lot with 2 of them in the past, so I know them pretty well. As I recall, they sound very similar to each other, but I think the best ones are the ones with the red power switch, because those used to come with Celestion speakers. The one we just heard, which is the VS100R, comes with the Marshall Goldback speaker, which I recommend you to get rid of. When I got this amplifier, it was in a very bad shape. It was super dirty, the reverb wasn't working. I had to resolder a bunch of solder joints. It had a loud hum. I put new electrolytic capacitors and nothing changed. After speaking to a tech, he recommended me to change the tube for a low noise tube because apparently this model has that issue. So I did it, and now the hum is way lower than before, but I don't know if you can still hear it in the background during the recordings. Well, I have to say that I live 10 blocks away from the main radio and TV tower here in Madrid, so I normally get a lot of RF noise. By the way, I think this particular model is prone to hum because I remember when I lived in the States, before buying my AVT head, I went to check out one of these and it was humming. I told the owner and he said the amplifier had been like that since he got it. So I knew there was something wrong because with my old one, which was the one with the red power switch, I don't remember having hum. And after that, when I got my AVT one, that one didn't hum as well. So if you're gonna get one of these, you have to be careful. Well guys, I hope this demo can give you some answers about this amplifier. If you have any questions, leave a comment below. Don't forget to subscribe, and remember, stay tuned because I will come back with more cool stuff. I'm Alverdura the Tone Junkie. See you next time.